Howdy folks, how's it going? Greetings from Northern California on a very hot summer's day here. So in this video then I'm going to talk about how to get visas for different countries as you travel around the world. Now, as most of you will probably already know, then you don't necessarily just walk up to a border and then they say, come on in, stay as long as you like. That pretty much never happens. There are rules and restrictions and regulations and whatnot on how long you can stay in certain countries, whether you can even enter that country at all, and then also, of course, on whether you're staying there as a tourist versus being able to work there. So the two most fundamental factors when it comes to traveling in foreign countries are which country you are from and which country you are planning to go to. So the first thing to keep in mind is that you will, of course, need a passport. Except for certain exceptions. For example, if you are a member of the European Union, then you can travel around the European Union without a passport. And there may be other exceptions out there as well. Oftentimes, neighboring countries have special arrangements with one another. For example, the US and Canada and Mexico, not that long ago, had a special arrangement such that you could enter those countries from the United States with just an identification, a driver's license or whatever. That is no longer the case. Now you need a passport. So basically, you're going to need a passport to travel abroad. And then based on the country of origin of your passport, then there will be certain countries that you can most likely travel to without needing a visa, and then certain countries that you will need a visa for. So the first thing is you just got to find out where you're planning to go and what the restrictions and allowances are for your entering that country based on the country that you are from. So let's say that you are from the United States, as I am, and you want to go to France. Then pretty much what you want to do is make use of the internet and do some online searching and find out what exactly your allowances are within that particular country, because it varies considerably from one country to the next. The visa rules and entry rules are wildly different around the world. So for example, a citizen of the United States can enter the European Union without a visa, just with a passport, and stay for up to 90 days. And so that means you can travel all around the European Union, which includes 17 or 18 different countries, for that period of 90 days in total. And then you have to exit, and I think that you have to be gone for 90 days, and then you can come back for another 90 days. I'm not completely certain on that. So that is just one example. Now, if you want to travel to Thailand, for example, and you are an American, then there are a variety of different sort of possibilities for entering Thailand. So the first is that you can get a visa before you fly there, and so you would go to the Thai embassy and give them your passport or else mail it to them, and then they will most likely give you a visa to enter the country of Thailand for as much as, I believe, 60 days. And so that's a process in which you go down to the office or mail it in, and then it takes some time. You have to pay money for that, and then they will send you back your passport with a stamp in it, essentially, on one of the pages of your passport that grants you entry into that country for that period of time. Now, you can also simply arrive at the border in Thailand and enter that way. You will still need to get a visa, but it's called a visa on arrival, and many countries have this option. So you don't have to do the whole procedure of mailing your passport and everything beforehand. You just show up on the border and you get your visa. However, you cannot get the 60-day visa that way. You can only get a 30-day visa that way, and that is if you are flying into an airport. If you enter Thailand overland from one of the bordering countries, Cambodia or Myanmar or Laos, then you only get 2 weeks now. They changed the rules recently. So flying in, you get 30 days, but entering in from a border crossing, then you only get 15 days. And those visas can then be renewed. You simply need to leave the country and then come back in. But if you're leaving the country and going to a neighboring country, then you will be entering via a border, and then it's only going to be the 15 days again. So that is just one example of how visas work for one country. And then things are completely different for other countries. For example, India then you can get a 6-month visa. That's the typical visa that most people can get, tourist visa, but you will have to apply for that beforehand, mail your passport to the Indian embassy, and then they will mail it back to you. And then the way it works with India is that the 6 months begins when they stamp that stamp in your passport, not when you enter the country. And so you will find yourself in a bad situation if you book 6 months for your flights in India, and then you get your passport back and realize that you've actually lost some time already in the course of it being mailed to you. So you have to factor in weird little things like that and find out what the specific rules are for each different country. So basically what it comes down to is you're going to have to do some Googling here and go to the embassy website for whichever country you're planning to go to, and then you will find a page after searching around a bit in which it details what the rules are for you based on which country you are from. So that's the basic situation in a nutshell, and just keep in mind that these rules can change from year to year, and so even if you've been to a country previously, then you want to check up on this stuff and find out what the latest information is. Now, one last thing that I will mention here is that some countries are sticklers about your having an onward flight from that country when you enter the country. They want to have some sort of proof that you're planning to leave, and then you're not going to stay there and stick around and stay past your visa allowance. But this is kind of a gray area. Many countries will say that is required, but then nobody ever actually asks you that at customs when you're entering the country. The Philippines, Indonesia, then I was never asked for that onward flight. I made sure that I had that onward flight when I entered. Thailand, then you really don't have to worry about that, to the best of my knowledge. I've entered Thailand, I forget how many times, 5 or 6 times or something, and that's never been a issue of them asking me for an onward flight. One solution to that is if you're not sure if you're going to maybe want to stay longer, or you're not sure where you're going to go next from there, or when you're going to leave, and so you don't want to purchase a flight, then one thing to consider is simply buy a very cheap flight to a neighboring country for 50 or 100 bucks or whatever, so that you at least have that proof with you that you are going to be moving on from the country, so that you can at least show them that paperwork at the border. And then you're only out 50 or 100 bucks or whatever, and you leave yourself open to changeable plans. Now, the obvious thing to do with that is to purchase such a flight that you think you might actually take anyways, but make it a cheap flight, so that you won't feel bad about it if you miss it. And then maybe you're not out the 50 or 100 bucks. Anyways, that's actually what I did when I went to Indonesia a year and a half ago. I bought a flight to Thailand for $100 through AirAsia.com, and wasn't sure that if I was going to take it, because I knew that I could renew my Indonesian visa after 30 days for another 30 days. But in the end, I did end up taking that flight. So, but if I had not, then it would have only been 100 bucks out of my pocket, and I could have stayed in Indonesia another 30 days. So I hope that gives some useful information. So what it comes down to is you're basically just going to have to search online, find out for yourself what exactly you need to know before entering a country, so that you do not run into any problems with customs upon arrival or departure. All right, thanks for watching. Happy trails.